The Mariners play their first friendly match of the pre-season. We recap all the latest transfer news surrounding the club. And one matter, could he be heading to Central Coast Mariners? Hey guys, this is Coastward Football. My name's Lockie. This is the place where we talk all things Central Coast Mariners. And this is a recap of all the latest Mariners news over the last week, whether it's stuff on the field, off the field. And we'd love for you guys to join the conversation as well. Jump in the comment section and stay subscribed if you want to stay up to date to Mariners news right here at Coastward Football. We're going to open up today by talking about the pre-season friendly against Brisbane Roar this past weekend. Mariners losing 2-0 in the end to Brisbane Roar. It looked like a fantastic occasion up on the Sunshine Coast. Almost 7,000 fans in attendance for a pre-season friendly, which is pretty much unheard of. Like, that's an incredible figure, bigger than a lot of the crowds that Brisbane got to their home games in the A-League last season. So it was great. It was a great game for Central Coast Mariners to be a part of. Now, unfortunately, we haven't seen anything, at least at the time of this recording, in regards to coverage of this match from the Mariners official channels, the social media channels. But we've gathered as much information as we can just from photos that especially Brisbane Roar have shared on their social channels to try and bring you guys as much information as possible, because that's what we're trying to do here on Coastward Football. The photo that Brisbane Roar shared on their X channel of sort of a large view of spread of the field, and doing some zooming in. It was a little bit tricky, but doing some zooming in, we can sort of figure out what the starting lineup was for Central Coast Mariners and a rough idea of formation as well. So judging on that photo we zoomed in on, it looked like it could well be a back four of Storm Rue, Diesel Harrington, Nathan Paul, and Lucas Moragas. Now, the midfield duo, to me, it looked like Harry Still and Alfred McCalmont. That could have been Hayne Eames in there as well. Again, it was really blurry considering how far we had to zoom in. In the wide positions, I did spot a number 35 there. That would be Arthur DeLima playing on that right-hand side. It looked like Christian Theoharis over on that left wing. Again, I believe it was DePizio there, and it wasn't quite clear who was also playing through the middle up top there as striker, but it could well be Nico Duarte. I mean, he's sort of really one of the only strikers we have left at the club at the moment. So that, to me, look like the team that we saw in the photo. I haven't seen any photos across, online showing who was playing in goals for Mariners. So, but we're all very intrigued to see, if it was Andrew Redmayne, if it was Dylan Perech-Cullen. There's a lot of debate in regards to who should get that starting spot in goals for Mariners. But again, so that's not a confirmed lineup. Just want to make that clear. That's just my own estimation based on zooming in on a blurry photo. Unfortunately, that's all we've got to go off at the moment. Hopefully we hear, from the Mariners, the club, they can publish some information about, the team used for this game and all that. But ultimately, a 2-0 loss against Brisbane Roar. Again, we've got no footage of the match, but a disappointing results, especially considering that Brisbane Roar were a team who finished below us last A-League season, but we know they did beat us in that final game of the A-League season last time around, and they have been doing a lot of work in regards to recruitment of their Brisbane Roar, whereas Central Coast Mariners have been very, very quiet. So I guess it wasn't necessarily a surprise, the result itself. Mariners still fielding a very young team. Still, I mean, even though it's a pre-season friendly, it would have been good to see Mariners at least get on the score sheet in this game, or even just take a draw away against a Brisbane Roar side who has a lot of hype around them, I think, at this moment in pre-season as well. Now, a couple other interesting things we learnt from this pre-season friendly. If you look at some of the photos shared by Brisbane Roar online, Central Coast Mariners were wearing a new look kit. Now, we don't know for sure if this is going to be Mariners' new kit for the upcoming season. It could well be, but we don't know. It could just be, sometimes we see clubs wear like a pre-season kit, an Australia Cup kit, but this was a kit that I hadn't seen before. I don't know about you guys, but if you look at the photos online, it's sort of like, it's mainly, the top is mainly yellow, but there is a big horizontal strip of navy and a big strip of white as well, where the logo is and everything, big horizontal strip there. Aside from that, Mariners appear to be wearing navy shorts and navy socks, but hey, we'll keep an eye on it. This could well be the new kit for the upcoming A-League men's season. Again, no confirmation of that, so I don't want to go ahead and, confirm that, or state that right now. Shifting on to other news, Nathan Paul as well as Dylan Perech-Cullen have been called up to the Australia Under-23 squad for the upcoming AFC Under-23 Asian Cup qualifiers there. So it's great to see these guys are well and truly involved in the Under-23 squad, especially Dylan Perech-Cullen, who, is still just a teenager, but it's great to see him being selected. He's one of those top young goalkeepers coming through that Australia has at the moment. Nathan Paul, he again could well be a key figure here for the Under-23 side for the upcoming qualifiers, which are taking place in early pre-September. Let's jump into our transfer news next. And first of all, I just wanted to do a quick check-in. We're going to do a look at the ins and outs that the Mariners have seen so far. Obviously, ins, pretty quick and easy. Andrew Redmayne, that's it so far. It is pretty disappointing for the Mariners, the fact that we haven't seen any more announcements regarding player signings. We've missed out on, it's disappointing because so many other clubs are able to capitalize and sign players, and we're missing out on opportunities to sign players. That's, seemingly what's happening at the moment. And it's considering that there is literally just a few weeks remaining in the transfer window, which closes in the middle of September. We are seriously running out of time, and we know we need serious reinforcement in a number of areas of the park, especially up top, which is just an area that we struggled in so much last year. We need a new striker. We need to sign someone up top. So hopefully we see something develop in that department. So Andrew Redmayne is the only in at the moment for our A-League men's team. For the outs so far, we've got Brian Kaltak, Ali Kowal, Noah Smith, Will Wilson, Sasha Kazewski, Jack Wachowski, Mikhail Doka departing on loan as well to Ventfort Kofu in Japan, and Vitor Feijão has also signed with a club in Azerbaijan. Now, again, a very interesting one. No, we have seen no official comment from Central Coast Mariners regarding Vitor Feijão. He was spotted in some of the training photos that Mariners did share online in the past weeks. But this was a couple weeks ago now. A club in Azerbaijan shared that they had signed Vitor Feijão, who had another year left on his contract at Central Coast Mariners. So whether there was maybe a mutual termination or maybe even a transfer fee, we don't know. And that's the surprising thing. And maybe slightly worrying, the fact that Mariners have literally said nothing about this move regarding Vitor Feijão. So hopefully we hear something about that. A player who we're expecting to feature for us this season is contracted with the club, signing with another club. We've heard nothing, on the end of the Mariners. So a little bit of a worrying one there. But Vitor Feijão, we wish him all the best going forward. He looks like he's departed the Central Coast. Heading over to our A-League women's team, there hasn't really been any news regarding our women's team up to this point. A couple little rumours and things here and there. First of all, Jade Pennick looks like she won't be returning for the Mariners next season. She was on loan at the Central Coast, of course, helping the side win the A-League Women's Championship last season. She is now signed with Sporting Club Jacksonville over in the US. We wish Jade all the best, but again, it looks like there that she will not be returning to the Central Coast Mariners after her loan spell last season. And another one as well, this is coming from Aisha on the Field on Instagram. That's the Instagram handle there. Check out Aisha's stuff. She does great content, especially on women's football. She has shared this post indicating that Taylor Ray has been linked with a move to Melbourne Victory, the team that Mariners defeated in the A-League Women's Grand Final. It will be a huge loss for Central Coast Mariners. Taylor Ray was so good for the Mariners last season, whether it was playing in midfield or the heart of defence. She was just one of the star players for the Mariners last season, and she's, no surprise that she would be receiving plenty of interest. Formerly at Sydney FC, spent the last season at Central Coast Mariners, and now potentially heading to Melbourne Victory. Again, this is just a rumour at this stage, so nothing official, but Mariners could be losing Taylor Ray for the upcoming campaign. Breaking news, Central Coast Mariners have just announced their new head coach for the upcoming A-League women's season, Corey Babington. Corey is currently an assistant coach with the Young Matildas and also the director of football at Westfield Sports High School. Has also spent time at Western City Wanderers, MacArthur Bulls. Joins the Mariners, of course, after the side won the championship last season. Hopefully he can continue the development of our team as well as the talented young players we have in our squad. Welcome to the Mariners, Corey. Next up, let's talk about Juan Mata. Now, this is quite interesting. An article came up from Marco Monteverde last week, which highlighted a couple things here regarding Central Coast Mariners. There's obviously been so limited news in the media regarding Central Coast Mariners and especially just player signings. So when something gets mentioned, we certainly pay attention to it. But this section of the article here from Marco Monteverde reads that Mata, 37, has also been linked with a move to Central Coast. However, the Mariners have been reluctant to sign new players due to financial constraints. Now, this is really interesting. This, to me, I don't know about you guys. The wording there in just that little paragraph suggests that Central Coast Mariners are interested in signing Juan Mata. First of all, if it was to happen, for me, it would be the biggest signing in Central Coast Mariners history. It would be the biggest signing. We've had some top players, some incredible players play for Central Coast Mariners who have, had incredible careers and played at some fantastic clubs overseas. Juan Mata, World Cup winner, former Manchester United, Chelsea player, possibly playing for Central Coast Mariners. I think there's nothing that I think would come close to it, for me at least, in my opinion. I wonder what you guys think about this. But this is suggesting that, he's been linked with a move to Central Coast. Now, this is interesting because we heard a couple months ago that maybe Juan Mata was interested in investing in the club, buying a stake in the club. We hadn't really heard anything else on that, recently. And initially when I saw this, I thought it was just, again, continuing that conversation about Juan Mata maybe being interested in investing in the Mariners. And who knows, maybe there's a situation here where it's both. Maybe Juan Mata invests in the club and also plays for us. That would be incredible. That would be awesome. That would be a huge boost for the fans if we had someone like Juan Mata come in to invest in the club and play. Again, we don't know. We're just coming off this article. I know nothing about this. Certainly one to keep an eye on there. Juan Mata linked with Central Coast Mariners, apparently. Wow. There's another paragraph in this article from Marco Monteverde. This same article. It's quite interesting. It's about Andrew Redmayne, the new signing for Mariners, which reads here, while the Gosford-based club last week announced the signing of former Socceroos goalkeeper Andrew Redmayne, it's understood the Mariners had to go through with the acquisition of the ex-Sky Blues gloveman after intervention from Professional Footballers Australia, the PFA, because the veteran custodian signed a contract with Central Coast for the new season in March. So interesting information there coming from Marco Monteverde. First of all, that apparently Andrew Redmayne signed a contract with Mariners all the way back in March, dating back quite a long time. So there we go. Obviously, it was something that we had heard about for some time, that it had been rumoured that Andrew Redmayne was going to join the Mariners. But there we go. All the way back in March is potentially where Redmayne signed his contract. But that is quite interesting. After intervention from the PFA, we had to go through with the signing. Now, we don't know, but maybe Mariners held off on the signing due to the sort of financial uncertainty currently surrounding the club. But it has been suggested here that we were sort of almost forced to go through with it. I mean, I wonder if... I'm sure Mariners were keen to sign Andrew Redmayne. I'm sure they weren't in a position where they were like, oh, we changed our mind, we don't want to go through with it. I imagine it's just come down to a financial thing where Mariners were maybe holding off on it. Again, that's just my own speculation. But it is a slightly concerning thing to hear. Hopefully nothing more else to it. It is great to have Andrew Redmayne back at the club, man. He's a guy who came through as a youngster at the Mariners all the way at the start of his early career, and he's back here with Mariners once again. So an interesting piece of information there. I wonder what you guys make of that. And to finish off this week's episode, I wanted to talk about some information that came out. This was a couple weeks ago now, but I did want to bring it up here in a Mariners Mail email to members and fans. Now, this was sent out on Friday, the 15th of August, so it's dating back a couple weeks now. There was a couple key takeaways, some interesting takeaways that I took from this email. First of all, it did state that Andrew Redmayne has joined the club on a 1-year contract. That detail, I don't think, had been mentioned anywhere else. So it is just a 1-year contract for Andrew Redmayne. And apparently he had already been in training for 2 weeks. That was on the 15th of August. So looks like he's been in training now for the last month with the Mariners. Another big takeaway from the email from the Mariners here was that the A-League fixture has apparently been delayed, and the Mariners say that they don't expect it until, at least September now, which is not particularly surprising. We all know what's happening with Western United and the uncertainty there. And again, at the time of this recording, we don't know what's happening yet with West United, whether they're going to be involved in this A-League season. And we really feel for that club, man, and their fans. It's really crap what they're going through at the moment. And we hope it works out for West United, but it is looking really concerning at the moment for them. But there we go. We're not going to get the fixtures until September, which is super, super late. Usually we get the fixtures early August or July, but we're going to have to wait till next month to get the A-League fixtures. And lastly, let's talk about ownership, because there was a line here regarding the current state of the club and what's happening going forward. There was a line here that I think can fill fans with a little bit of optimism going forward. So let's finish off. Let's leave you guys I really appreciate you guys sticking around for this video. Let's leave you with a little bit of optimism and hope for the future of Central Coast Mariners. In regards to the club leadership, there was a line in the email that said that we will be in a position shortly to make an announcement on this matter, talking about club leadership. That's the phrase that they use, club leadership. So we imagine that means, the ownership situation, financial stuff. There's been so much talk about what's happening there. But again, want to highlight, they are saying we will be in a position shortly to make an announcement on this matter. To me, that suggests that there is a deal that's going ahead, that's happening, that's moving forward. That's quite confident wording for me. We will be in a position shortly. And again, just want to highlight, this was revealed on the 15th of August, now a couple of weeks ago, and they said shortly. So, I mean, this could drop any day now. Who knows? I mean, if you're watching this now, maybe the news has already been dropped in regards to what's happening with Central Coast Mariners and possible investment. There's been lots of reports and stuff bouncing around, but that is an encouraging line from Central Coast Mariners, and hopefully we do hear some positive news regarding that stuff in the very, very near future. So guys, make sure to stay subscribed if you want to keep up to date to all the Mariners news that we'll be sharing here on the channel in the coming weeks and months over the pre-season. Of course, the A-League season is starting just to get a little bit closer and closer. And of course, the transfer window is closing soon for our A-League men. So we'll keep an eye on what's happening in regards to Mariners in the transfer window. Will we see any signings? If we do make any signings, I'll make sure to bring the info to you guys as quickly as possible. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit the like button on the way out. Support the channel. Thanks once again. My name's Lucky. See you in the next one.